Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Meet Your Neighbours. In this week we are doing something a wee bit different. We have a guest who has just started his channel not too long ago. I'd like to welcome you to Cynical Siege. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm very well, on yourself, mate.
I am good, sir. I'm good, sir. So, that's certainly not a UK accent or a North American accent. Where does that accent hail from?
All the way from the southern parts of Africa.
Very nice. And as I just found out, you're actually not living in Africa at the moment. No, where are you living?
No, currently I'm based in the UK, in London.
Oh, very nice. And what was the journey that made you move all the way from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere?
Going back, it's about 20 years ago, in about 2000, 2001. So I basically finished my school career, went to university, did something that I wasn't too happy about. I was studying computer engineering. But unfortunately, that was all just gobbledygook to me. So, yeah. If I probably would have done better if I had computer sciences in high school, but unfortunately, I went with languages in high school. So, so after doing that, and then just basically the future in South Africa wasn't looking too great for anyone at that time. It was uncertain times.
I remember it, yeah.
So the one good thing that I had on my side is my grandparents came from the UK.
Okay, fantastic.
They were born in Ireland, which I actually only found out when I was doing my ancestral visa. I always thought that my grandparents were born in Scotland.
Oh, really? Okay.
Scottish accents.
Okay.
And even my dad's got a Scottish accent.
Fantastic.
Well, and then I only found out that they were actually born in Ireland.
Oh, okay. I don't mind people with Scottish accents. I like people with Scottish accents, actually. So, what in Ireland? So, what part? Do you know what part of Ireland it was? North or south?
No, it was Republic.
It was Republic. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Republic, yeah.
Beautiful part of the world.
And I think because of the, yet again, uncertain times in that area, that's when they decided to
move to the UK. Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So, I guess, London, I'm not sure what the population is now. I know it's about the 10 or 12 million market. It's a bustling metropolis, but is that what you love, or do you like being a little bit rural, or where do you sit, or are you suburban? What kind of lifestyle do you enjoy?
At the moment, we live on the outskirts of London, so it's nice and quiet. It's not too heavily populated. I commute into London for work, which is fine by me because I don't like big crowds and busy places.
Nice. Okay.
Coming from South Africa, I basically grew up in a small town when I was younger, and then when I went to high school, I moved to the city because my dad had a job placement. And even just growing up in a city, it's too much. I don't like the busy lifestyle. When I came to London as well, the first time I came to the UK, I've went to a small little village called Farnham.
I know Farnham.
Which is, very nice, very quiet. I was there probably for about 2 years before I moved to Oxford. And Oxford also, I was there for about 2 years, and then came to London, just basically because of the job market and higher earnings that you would get in London.
I thought you might come to London to meet the Queen, but anyway. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's very similar in Australia with the main cities here, where it's where the majority of the work is and the higher earnings. So it's
Exactly.
it's totally.
Well, I've met
understandable.
Elton John, so that's one Queen I've met.
Oh, really? Was he nice?
Yeah, he was alright.
I've heard he can be quite abrupt at times, but I've got to say I had the chance to go to one of his concerts about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Somebody had a spare ticket, and
Okay.
I wasn't disappointed. He's consummate.
No, he's a good entertainer. That's one thing.
Consummate professional as far as entertaining.
Yes, yes. No, he was doing a charity gig a couple of years ago in London at one of the places that my company owned. So he hired the place out, and yeah, it was nice. But got to chatting to David Furnish majority of the times.
Which is his
So
partner.
yeah, they are right. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic, mate. Yeah. So what brought you to the gaming community and the gaming environment? Can you tell me the story how you got started with gaming?
Wow, that goes back to probably about the 1980s. Still in South Africa. My dad was working for a very large company in South Africa, and he was lucky enough to be working in the IT department. And as an incentive, he was given one of the old IBM home PCs, the old VGA monitor PCs back in the days. And I remember the first games that he actually had was the old Dig Dug, Digger, Frogger, those games.
Oh yeah, I remember them well, mate.
And then, because he was in the IT department, every week he would come home with a new game.
Wow.
So I was very fortunate. And yeah, so actually my dad actually was the one that introduced me to gaming.
And Cynical, what now? If you think about where you are now with your gaming and where you started, what is it that you love about it? What's kept you gaming all these years? What's the marked thing? Can you put your finger on what you get out of gaming?
Stories, mate. Stories. Just the storytelling of games, different games. If I remember my first game, or my first game series that I played, were the old Space Quest, King's Quest, Police Quest. And just from there, just progressing throughout the years, and then all the new games that would be released. More the storytelling, especially you playing as the character.
Yep.
And this whole world that revolves around you. It's like your world. You are the character. You control the character. You can do what you want. You can be what you want. And that's basically the whole crux of gaming for me.
Yep.
Just be able to immerse yourself into these games.
And is there a type of a genre of game that you prefer?
Jeez.
I
would probably say role-playing, space. Yeah, kind of like science fiction, role-playing, things like that. Like the Mass Effect series.
Okay, that's a good example. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a very popular Mass Effect series, and then you've got Dead Space and things like Alien Resurrections and stuff like that. That kind of genre. It's funny because that's what I love about our community. We have a common kind of thread. Most of us, I guess, and most of us have met through kind of Fallout, but the community, when you start to break down and talk to people. We all have this kind of different mix of games that we prefer playing.
Yeah.
I know some people like the historic, some people just like the open world. There are other kind of bit more text-based games, in as much as you get into a lot of dialect and there's a lot of text involved. So it's interesting. I think it's very healthy. And certainly I come from remembering these games that were on a computer screen that were basically a graphic and a lot of words, and you had to imagine these games. And I remember a friend of mine and I were playing, and I forget the name of the game, but I've got it. I could find it because I've got it downstairs. I've still got my notebook downstairs where I'm actually physically mapped out this island, which was part of the game as we went through, so that you could keep up with it. And it was basically a text-based game. It was
I remember that. Yep.
But
walk through the door.
Yeah.
And then it will tell you, you're in a room. There's a door on your left, a door on your right.
That's the ones.
Yeah, I remember those.
They were a lot of fun actually, but I don't know that I could go back to that extreme now. And I think
I don't think I have the patience anymore for that.
The strange thing is now, it's funny. A friend of mine was over one of our neighbours was over the other day, and we've known this lady for years, and I was playing, and she looked at the screen. She's like, "What film is that?" I'd explained to her it was a video game. She goes, "Are you kidding?" And the point is, video games have got very, very realistic now, very realistic in as much as the way they look in the immersion process. So it's I think it's even more. I think it's easier now to get immersed into games than it has been ever in the past. So I wonder what happened.
For me,
yep.
As I was saying, the earlier years when Space Quest came out,
mm-hmm.
everything was like the block characters.
Yep.
Until Space Quest 4 came out, and it was actually proper computer graphics.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was a game changer.
Especially
back then. It was like, what? It's like nothing's pixelated anymore. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then, especially when another game changer for me is when Battlefield Bad Company 2 came out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've got that game. Yeah.
And the environment was destructible.
Mm-hmm.
And tanks, you could be riding tanks and jeeps, and the most memorable thing for us, especially along my group of friends.
Yep.
When that first came out, there was one of the maps that I think was on a golf course,
mm-hmm.
and you could ride one of the golf carts. And we had hours of fun. Me and him were in a golf cart while two other blokes were in a tank chasing us, trying to shoot us.
Oh no!
And it was the funniest thing to me. It was brilliant. It was amazing.
It's funny because you forget how games have progressed, and you're right. You weren't, as you would probably well know if you've watched the channel for a while. I'm a huge Borderlands fan, and I think I've perfected the art of falling off the map in Borderlands in the most obscure places possible. But games years ago, you could never do that because they all had kind of death walls, or it was
exactly. Yeah. You would just run into a wall, and then nothing else would happen.
Nothing would happen. So yeah, that's. I don't know if that's progress or not, but anyway, it's a lot of fun. I agree. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it is, because if you think of Doom,
mm-hmm.
then I love the remake of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the original. I was glued with the original.
Yes, I remember the original. And was fantastic.
Even though, the thing is, growing up in South Africa is very Christian conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So when these type of games were released, it wasn't very popular in public eye.
So it's something a little bit rebellious, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, games like that, it was great fun. That's why I was so happy when they actually announced that they were making a remake of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little bit skeptical at first,
Mm-hmm.
which I normally am. That's why I'm called Cynical. But hey, that's just me. But yeah, I'm actually really pleased on what they did.
Well, I
Just don't like the running around, going from one place to another place and then back to the first place just to get. But oh well, it's probably just because of the original game. So
that sounds like
but I'm really pleased.
that sounds like a Fallout 76 quest.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually only just picked up, I think it's Doom 2016, about maybe 4 or 5 days ago. Bethesda are having a publisher sale, and I picked it up at a very good price. So I've been actually playing that in the last few days and really enjoying it. Actually, to get back to Doom, because again, like yourself, it's kind of the stuff that I grew up on: Doom, Quake, those kind of games. So.
Exactly. And I remember, and one game that was really controversial when it first came out was MDK.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Murder, death, kill.
Yes, I do. It was
even just that was like all the parents were like, no, you can't play that, no.
And what did he do?
That was great fun.
So what did he do as a kid? Of course he wanted to play it because your parents said no.
Well, no, because luckily my parents, well, as I say, my dad being from
IT,
and because his grandparents were from the UK, so that influence rubbed off on him.
Mm-hmm.
He was open-minded with all these things.
Nice.
Good. And I mean, if my dad wouldn't install a game on the PC,
mm-hmm.
knowing that, okay, I can't play it.
Mm-hmm.
So if he was alright for me to play it, then I would play it. So when that came out, he would have a look at it first,
mm-hmm.
and then he would think, okay, yeah, it's not that bad. But the thing is, my parents knew that I knew it was only a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't take things literally. I didn't have nightmares because of blood and guts and gore and things like that.
No, it's entertainment, and that's where
exactly
where you view it, and that's where it starts and ends, I guess. Yeah. So, how long have you had your YouTube channel up and running for Cynical?
Probably about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
The first video that I made was a video that, because, as I say, I have a motorcycle
mm-hmm.
that I commute into work with,
mm-hmm.
and especially here in London, a lot of guys, because of the accident rate, you have a little helmet cam.
Yep.
And the thing about me is, before I buy a product, I like to go online,
mm-hmm. and
review the product,
yep.
watch a couple of videos, have a look and see what other people are saying about the product before I make my mind up and buy it.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this thing I bought after a couple of months was not working properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back on the reviews and I had a look and I saw that majority of the views were all positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, no, they can't be. And while I was going into the reviews, I saw a majority of reviews. And I mean, it's not just this product. It's all products that I see now these days.
Mm-hmm.
Product reviewers, they'll take a product and they will review it when it's still brand new.
Mm-hmm.
They won't do a review when the product is 6 months old or a year old.
Or after they've road tested it for a while, basically, is what you're saying.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. So after 6 months, I had this thing. I already found problems, and I decided that I was going to make a review of this product and
mm-hmm.
let people know what this product is actually all about.
Mm-hmm.
because it's not as good as, and I mean, even within the first 3 months of having the product, I already picked up problems which weren't mentioned on the previous reviews.
Yep.
So basically, that's where it all started.
Okay.
And then, especially when Fallout 76 came out. Now, look, I was, as I say, cynical.
We'll get to that in a sec. Yep.
When E3, when Bethesda announced that at E3 that they were doing 76, I was one of those that said, "Nah, it's not going to work. It's going to be shite."
You weren't watching Draco's stream by any chance, were you? Because yeah, we all kind of went, oh.
Yeah, I can't remember whose stream I watched, but I watched a couple of streams about that, and I mean, even when they launched it,
Yeah.
it was a disaster. It was a nightmare.
I guess for us, for a number of us, like I remember that E3, we all went, oh, okay. But then we got the opportunity to play the beta. And I think the beta was the thing that kind of turned a lot of us round, and I think because a lot of us in the community are also very heavily invested in Bethesda games and are Fallout tragics, if you like, we're prepared to give it a go. So being able to do to be able to play the beta actually helped a lot for many of us.
Exactly, yeah.
And I guess, the important part for me and a few others was then to give an honest appraisal of, after the beta finished, what we thought. Now, I've got to say, I wasn't, hang on a second, might just hang on 2 seconds. Okay, so where were we? We were talking about 76, weren't we? So
76 through launch.
Yeah, through launch. So, yeah, what I was saying is, yeah, it's kind of inherent on, well, I feel it is, as YouTubers, that you give an honest appraisal of certain things, and it kind of speaks to what you were saying before about honest product reviews. But when I done my review of 76, it wasn't all flowers. Let me tell you, I was fairly critical of parts of it, but I think 12 months down the track, though, it's quite a different game, 76 now, and they've done a lot of work, Bethesda, to address people's issues and respond to the community, and certainly.
Well, that's why I started making these videos.
Yeah.
Because I mean, back in the day, I played Fallout 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a mate of mine that actually told me about Bethesda when Oblivion came out.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I never heard of Bethesda before that. I never even heard of the Elder Scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
He told me about Oblivion and what a wonderful game it was. And he knew I liked open world games, that type of effect. And he said, well, try it. You might like it. I mean, yes, it took me a couple of weeks before I actually did get it.
Yep.
But I mean, when I started playing, I was hooked.
Yep. And Bethesda are very good at that.
Exactly. And I mean, ever since then, every Bethesda game that's come out, I have bought.
Oh, really? Wow.
On release date, I have bought. That's how much I like Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
76, on the other hand, I was very skeptical about.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, as you say, so you play the beta, and I mean, all the reviews that I saw on the beta, majority were negative.
Yep.
Even after the beta, when people were still posting reviews, everything was negative.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of months down the line, I took the boy, we went shopping one day, and can't remember, I think it was PC World or something like that, and 76 was half price on PS4.
Yep.
And I thought, okay, you know what, it's half price. At least I'm not paying full price
Yeah.
for a game if it is going to tank or whatever. So
Yeah.
I bought it. At the time, I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yep.
I haven't touched Red Dead Redemption 2 since then.
Oh, there you go. I got to say, okay, so there's a couple of things that I'd make a point about 76 about. It's completely new territory for a Fallout game. It's online, it's open world, it's got other players in it. So it was brand new kind of direction for a Fallout game to go. So of course it's going to divide the community.
It was going to have, it was going to have its negative points.
Absolutely.
It's as you say, it's a brand new thing. So they're still treading water.
Yeah. So there was that. Certainly, I didn't believe it was a bad game at all. When we'd played, when we'd got into it and we'd been able to play as much as we had played in the beta, both solo and together as a group, there's no way it was as bad as everybody was saying. And I think a lot of those people, I certainly had conversations
they haven't played it.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
I had conversations with people like that where I'd eventually get round to saying, so how many hours have you got in the game? And they would, well, I haven't actually played it yet, but yet you're criticising it.
It's like the other day I had an argument with a guy because he was saying, yeah, but I watch reviews on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I can comment.
No.
Well, I've watched a lot of ER in House on YouTube, so does that make me a doctor?
That's true, it's a good point. But at the end
unless you actually have played the game,
yep.
I feel that people can't comment.
But
and as I said, I was a hypocrite. I was one of them.
Yeah. But you've changed it. Well, I think the thing that Bethesda's very sensibly done is they've admitted, look, we didn't get it great. We didn't get perfect at launch, but it's the nature of that type of game anyway. That those online games do need a lot of work after launch. But the way that they've gone about changing 76 in as much as they've given. Because I think the biggest gripe for people, or the biggest fear for people, was the PvP element of Fallout 76. And the fact that they've given those people their own mode, that if they want to go and fight against each other, they can. And the rest of us can just wander around, meet people.
And easily, yes.
I think was very, very smart of them. So it is a very playable game. I've played it solo, I've played it in a group, and it's a great deal of fun. So, but
especially the nuclear winter.
Yeah, you like that? You like that mode?
I do of 76.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge battle royale fan. A fortnight I played maybe an hour, and I deleted it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Apex Legends, I played maybe about 3-4 hours before deleting that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not fun for me.
I think though this very much is a Fallout feel about it, and Mikey and I have spoke about it quite a lot of length privately, and I think that it will get better Nuclear Winter.
Well, I love Nuclear Winter. At least Bethesda has made it fun for us.
Yep, I totally agree. I think it will get better and better and better as well. So it's again, they're at least you've got to tip your hat to them that they are brave enough, number one, to do something like 76, and then brave enough again to do something like Nuclear Winter. So.
Exactly.
For me now, I shudder to think how many hours I've got into 76, but I've actually stopped playing it for the moment. More because other games jumped in front of it, and I think some of the additional content that they gave us, the storylines were a bit thin for me personally. But at the end of the day, you will make a judgment on what you want to play based on what you want to get out of a game. And so I think that's why being a YouTuber and having a channel and being able to do gameplay for people to watch is important, because I think that's the best way of getting your head around whether the game's for you or not. So, at least in my opinion.
Exactly.
So what is it about 76 that you're enjoying?
You still there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. So just everything went silent for a while.
Oh, that.
76, I just think basically because it's like Fallout, but I like the interactions with other players.
Mm-hmm.
Building, especially building a little place with vending machines.
Yep.
Helping people out.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that, those kind of things. Also, it's like a, I don't want to say it's a follow-on, but it's an alternative to Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you can say it's a Fallout 4.5 kind of thing.
Yep. It is kind of weird when you meet somebody for the first time in that environment, though, isn't it? I remember when I first met, when another player suddenly appeared in my environment, I was so kind of used to Fallout 4 that I went, it was kind of like, oh.
Exactly.
Oh, and then then it dissipated and you waved at them and it was all good. But that initial, I was like, oh, what's he doing in my map, So
is he going to be friendly? Is he going to kill me?
Yeah, who knew? I mean, that's half of the battle, though. So, the name Cynical Siege, where does that come from?
Well, Cynical comes basically, my friends have adopted that nickname for me.
Okay.
How can I put this? I don't sugarcoat things. I call a spade a spade.
You would love Australia then.
Yeah. So basically, I question everything.
Yep.
So I won't listen to someone and accept what they tell me is to be true.
Mm-hmm.
I will actually go and question. As I say, it's like you watch YouTube videos.
Yep.
And that's why I started making videos about 76. Just so that people can actually see that, well, it's not actually as bad as people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
And it is getting better.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically, that's where Cynical comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Siege, yet again, my friends, my name, I've got a double barrel name,
Mm-hmm.
which is Charles Jean.
Mm-hmm.
It's South African.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, just everyone calls me CJ.
Okay, gotcha.
The initials.
Mm-hmm.
But for some unknown reason, CJ was just too much for my friends to say. So they thought, well, how can we make CJ even shorter?
Again, you'd love Australia because we do that as well.
So CJ, they've just went, well, CJ, Siege. There we go. And then all of a sudden they just started calling me Siege.
That sounds like a conversation that was had in a pub somewhere in the UK. But anyway, maybe I'm just being cynical now.
Normally, a lot of alcohol is involved when we have our deep-hearted conversations. So, but I mean, it's to the point now where even my parents and my wife calls me Siege.
Oh, well, there you go.
So that's stuck with me throughout the years.
So as far as your channel goes, have you got any plans with what you would like to do with your YouTube channel? Where you'd like to take it?
Not really, mate. I'm just on the go. So what I do is I just live stream basically whatever I feel like playing.
And just share it with people.
And just share it with people. Just share that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, majority of the times when I'm streaming 76, I have a lot of people that look on and then they ask me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, yes, I tell them, look, it's not perfect, but it is fun and it is getting better.
Mm-hmm. You know what, mate? At the end of the day, as long as you're having fun with it, who cares?
Exactly. It's a game.
Yep, exactly.
It's only a game.
Exactly.
And people get so stressed or riled up because of a game, and then they want to have arguments. Now, look, I love winding people up as well, so I have fun in that.
Mate, you have to come and live in Australia. You would just love it here. We're very direct. Well, political correctness is kind of kiboshed that a wee bit, but we're very direct. We love winding people up, and we shorten people's names. And if we can't shorten them, we put an O on the end of it.
We make one up, exactly.
That's what I love about this country. It's just a funny place to live, and you know where you start. Being direct's fine. You know where you stand, as long as you can be direct without upsetting people. But anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. Okay, mate. A few more questions for you. So, if I was able to give you a first class ticket to anywhere in the world, where would you travel to that you haven't been to before?
That I haven't been to before.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the States.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. The missus and I have always been talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
We want to rent a camper van.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get a motorcycle, and then we want to do Route 66 from the east to the west.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that will be an amazing experience.
So, Gaming for XP community, are you listening? Cynical may need some accommodation along the way. We're gonna get comments about that one, I'm sure. Yeah, mate. It's funny you should say that, because Route 66, Route 66, however you want to pronounce it, it's one of the things that is on my bucket list also. So. I'd like to see that old side of the kind of central part of America. I think it would be real fun just to lose yourself for a couple of months doing that drive and just meeting people. It's something that I love doing. I love travelling. I love meeting people and hearing their stories. So I think it'd be a lot of fun. You could do a vlog series for your YouTube channel if you do it, man.
Oh, definitely.
It'd be pretty funny.
I've got mates here in London that they're South African,
mm-hmm.
but they moved to the States for a couple of years, and I think they were there for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He was in one of the Carolinas, either the North or South Carolina, and he said he absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
He even said it's just the community, especially in the southern states, are a lot like South Africa and Australia.
Mm-hmm. You heard that, didn't you? You heard that Gaming for XP community, didn't you? That's gonna start a little bit of a debate. It'll be as big as my sausage debate anyway. And one final, we'll give you a couple of final questions.
Okay.
First concert you ever went to?
Oh, mainstream concert.
It doesn't matter.
I would say the main one, the biggest concert that I went to was the Reading Festival in 2001.
Nice. Is that still going? I was at the Reading Festival. I'm not going to tell you when, but bands like Iron Maiden and Saxon and Motorhead were playing. So we'll say no more than that. But is that still running?
As far as I'm aware, yes, it is still running.
So who would have been the main bands you saw at Reading?
Well, the Friday, from what I can remember, because I remember Eminem. No, that was on the Sunday. The Friday was. I think that was Manic Street Preachers, Green Day, System of a Down.
Wow.
Saturday, I can't remember any of Saturday. Saturday was just a blank. And Sunday, when we eventually got round to Sunday, the main headliners for the Sunday was Queens of the Stone Age, Eminem and Marilyn Manson.
Fantastic. Reading,
and then of course Monday was a blank again.
Well, Reading traditionally was kind of a rock stroke metal music festival, but obviously they had to adapt it. But I can remember who was on the bill. I didn't say I could remember much of it, but anyway, yeah, it was always great fun.
Yeah.
Well, you're yeah. I'll better stop because I'll get all sentimental in a minute. But anyway.
Well, that's the one thing I like about the UK, because in South Africa we never used to get these bands. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago we had Metallica.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I wasn't in South Africa at that time, but Metallica were performing in South Africa, and that was huge because it was like the first time that a big band was in South Africa.
Wow.
But being in the UK, we are so fortunate because you can go to all these stadiums and there are so many international bands. And I mean, I was dripping with excitement when I went to Iron Maiden.
Yep. Wow.
A couple of years ago.
Wow.
Because at school you always hear about Iron Maiden, you listen to their music, and you always have a look on TV at the huge shows that they produce around the world.
Yep.
But these shows would never come to South Africa. But then having to be in London, actually go to one of these things, and you think, shit, man, this is cool.
I can tell you, Bruce is
awesome.
Bruce Dickinson is an amazing singer, and Maiden still live are still as good as ever, even though they're a bunch of old blokes now, a bit like me. But and I'm about to see another bunch of old blokes in a couple of months called Metallica as well. So
exactly,
and those guys are still awesome. So. Well, Cynical, thank you so much for joining us on the show today, mate. It's been a real blast to have a chat with you, and I hope you've enjoyed the time, and thanks for giving up a little bit of your day just to have a chat. So
it's been an honour and a privilege, mate. Thank you.
Not a problem. So, guys, if you haven't checked out Cynical Siege's channel yet, please do yourself a favour and click the link down below in the description. Go over, show him some Gaming for XP love. And I hope you'll enjoy what he has to offer. So guys, thanks again for joining us on Meet Your Neighbours, and we'll catch you next time on Gaming for XP. See ya.
Thanks everyone. Cheers.